Hello, guys and girls. Jokester here, bringing you another episode of FTB Unstable. We are up to episode 38, and as you see, my machines are processing. What are they processing? Osmium. Yeah, that's right. We have added Mekanism mod into the pack, and again, not an unstable standard pack, but I've decided to add it to play around with it. And preliminary reports have Mekanism in FTB Infinity, so it's going to be an FTB sanctioned mod potentially. So I thought we'd get a head start on that and take a look. And it's producing osmium dust, and it's coming over here, and if we can catch it, it produces osmium ingots. And I have created a new compacting drawer over here just because, why not? And I now have 6,200, almost 6,300 ingots, which equates to almost 700 blocks. And if we look at the map, I have moved, this is where we gather the yellorite from, and so I just continued on out and I placed the quarry here, and you can see it's got a nice big area here that it's mining out, and I have this time only pulling in osmium, so that's all I care about. So we're going to get into a little bit of Mekanism, but first I want to show you, if you recall, last episode we had some issues with the exporters from refined storage, and I played around with this quite a bit. I tried exporters, importers, I tried interfaces. I honestly believe that these are broken right now. So there's something going on. Now there is an issue potentially with the reactor access port. I get that. But when placing a vanilla chest here, there is no excuse for importers and exporters not to work like they should. You should be able to put a device here or an item here, and it exports that into a chest. And this works just fine. And so what I did was I set up this buffer chest. I told it to export yellorium. That works fine. And then I left a few slots. This will always stay full. We only really need one slot for it. And I left plenty of room for this to come back into this chest because I've set up, the standard in and out. And so I just set this to blue. Hey, nice, because the cyanide is blue. And I extract that, and this is set to in and out, and this is set to insert. I was messing around with priorities. Doesn't seem to make a difference with the importers and exporters, but now we see that this is always full. And so that solves that problem. The other problem is that the importer just does not work. It absolutely does not work either connected to here. It doesn't work connected to here. I connected it in directly off of this guy. That doesn't work. Then I put it over here and connect it around and put it on the front of the chest. And what happens is even though I whitelist it, remember you can whitelist this to just cyanide, it actually sucks the yellorium out of here and then puts it right back in from the importer, and it just continues to go in and out, in and out, in and out, and this never, ever, ever gets pulled out. It's so frustrating. So I don't know. Maybe newer versions in the future will have that ironed out, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't work. Export or interfaces are supposed to do dual duty. They take the combination of exporters and importers. And so I placed one of those in, with and without the chest, directly connected, not directly connected. And those guys just don't export at all. They just will not work. They seem to import okay. So in theory, I could have an exporter, which does work, and an interface, which does work. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I've got a chest here right now. I've got plenty of room. I've got 4 stacks of 64 of cyanide that can build up, and I can just come down here periodically and empty that. I loaded this up with stone because otherwise this would just continue to put yellorite in any empty slot. So, common way, I'm sure you've seen this before, but you can fill out the chest so that only 1 stack or however many stacks you want will be in there, and that's it. Okay, so good. So let's go back up to the cellar. So now we have a ton of osmium, except for, you see it's coming in from the quarry. Actually, it looks like it's stopped because I was up to about 300 last time I checked. So it looks like our quarry is finished running. We've gotten all the osmium in that area. We're up to 780 now. We just checked a minute or two ago, and it was 700, so it's cranking through that. So We're done bringing that in, but you see osmium block, we should have, just like we have, I don't know, iron, right? We should see both ingots and blocks, or gold. We should see blocks, gold, and or sorry, ingots, blocks, ingots, and nuggets. It doesn't do that with osmium. So another issue with refined storage and the compacting drawers. I did submit a bug report for that, and so it's just submitted that right before recording this. But that's not a problem because all we have to do is just go in here and take some of these, right? Or I could just do a whole bunch of them, put these back into the system, and now we see that there's tons of ingots in there. Now this is in the refined storage. This is in the drawers, the compacting drawer. So not ideal, not what I want, but it's fine. It's not that big a deal. I could also come up here and I could. Oop, not wrong. Don't hold on to that. There we go. Anything else? Nope. Not. There we go. Empty hand. I could also grab them out of here like this, right? I could just grab a whole stack like that. So either way, it's not the end of the world. It's just a subtle little workaround and subtle nuance of the refined storage. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is let's take a look at this mechanism mod. In case you've never experienced it, it has been around for quite some time. It's kind of controversial. Some people think that it's too OP. Some people think, and well, I don't agree with that. I think it's decently balanced. The reason they say that is because there's ways that you can double ores. That's not OP in itself. We have lots of ways to double ores. There's also an easy-ish way to get to triple your ores. In my opinion, by the time you get to that and all the work that you have to do to get up to tripling of ores, that balances it itself. You use a ton of resources to set up the process to triple ores. But you can also quadruple ores. And you can quintuple ores. You can make 5 times the amount of ores from it. But I tell you what, that process is insane. I mean, you have to set up massive amounts of brine towers and generate lithium and specialized stuff, and it's a heavy duty process. And you wash the ores, and you have to there's probably a dozen different machines and lots of cabling and specialized liquids, and it's crazy, right? It's crazy to be able to get to that stage, but the ability to do that is pretty neat if you actually wanted to take that step. So I'm not so worried about that. The other thing is that there's things like the digital miner. So if we look at the digital miner, that's really what we're going to try to go for today if we possibly can. And the digital miner isn't too bad to get, but there is a lot of stuff going on here, and you need lots of machines to be able to do that. So it's really a neat, it's no different than a quarry, except that you can cherry pick items. It uses a ton of energy, so there's a bit of a balance there. But it's just, to me, I can go out there and mine a ton of things, but right now what I had to do is throw away all those other ores that I didn't want and all the other stuff coming from my quarry just to be able to get osmium. If I had this digital miner, I can just go out there and cherry pick, say, I just need osmium. I'm low on that. And so that's another controversial thing. They have some really neat storage things in here. So these guys right here, these induction stuff. But you can see that. So if you look at these different things, all right. So this is. Let's see if we can get to. I'm trying to see if there's a better representation. I guess we'll just use that. All right. So the lowest end is 1 billion, 1 gigajoule. No, these are actually in joules. These are not in RF. So this is 1 gigajoules, 8 gigajoules, 64 gigajoules, 512, and 64,000 joules. Basic, yeah, that's the beginning. Okay, so there you go. So 64 kilojoules, 512 kilojoules, and so on. And you go, there's your 4 million. So it looks like the highest is the 512 billion joules. And off the top of my head, I don't know how that equates to RF, but I think it's fairly close. I think it's fairly close to RF, and so 512 billion RF in. It's not a single block, right? This is just one of a multi-block structure. and it's a 5 by 5 by 5 structure, and you can place many of these inside of there, and it's pretty cool, right? So anyway, lots of really neat stuff. There's even jetpacks in here, and this is really fun. It runs on hydrogen, and so you can just grab a gas tank and drag around a gas tank with you with hydrogen. You generate hydrogen, and you can have a jetpack or an armored jetpack, and it's a lot of fun. So it's a really, really neat mod. Lots of fun things to do, and I appreciate it. And granted, I haven't gotten that far into it in the past. I usually do a few things and enjoy it. But anyway, okay, let's start with the very first thing. The very first thing is, you can go read the wiki and so on, but I happen to know it's the metallurgic infuser. And so it's not too bad. We just need a few things. So let me make a couple of furnaces just in case I don't have those. And let me go back. I hate how this shifts over here. Ooh, big thunder. All right, we should have everything else, and let's make a metallurgical infuser. Now, I kind of looked around and decided where I want to put this, and I was thinking this wall over here might be kind of cool. So what I did was I ran wire underneath here. I came over here and ran it all the way over here, and it comes in right here. And so we can just start placing blocks all along here. Maybe we'll start over here on the left-hand side as to where we want to put these. And so let's put this guy in here because it does need power. And so we put that in there, and you can see it fills up instantly with power. And so it's a bit loud. Let's turn that down some. Let's see, weather. How about some? There we go. All right, so let's get some things because we're going to need to make stuff. That's very descriptive, isn't it? Let's grab some redstone. We'll grab some iron, and we'll grab some osmium. Grab a stack of that as well. Okay, so in here, the way this works is that you would put your metal in here, and then you can infuse it with various stuff. And this is where your infusion goes. And so if we put redstone in there, you can see now we have 10. Put another one in there, and now it's 20. And then if we were to put an iron ingot in this, it works here, and it takes 10 of those. So think it's just, infusing one redstone over into the iron, and it produces this enriched alloy. And we need a lot of this stuff for pretty much every recipe. There's also, notice how long that took? It wasn't that bad, but you can go in here and you can actually add speed upgrades and energy upgrades. As you increase the speed, it will increase the amount of boy, that sure is loud. I'm going to just turn that off. Okay. So it increases the amount of, as you increase the speed, it increases the amount of energy, but then you can negate that amount of energy by producing the energy upgrades. But we're not there yet. So the other thing I want to grab is coal. I want to show you that as well, because this does double duty as well. Now we still have 10 in there, so I'm going to clear that out. Now I could dump it, but that's a bit wasteful. I mean, we have tons of redstone, but let's get good Minecrafting practice here. And we'll let that finish up, and cool, we're going to need a bunch of those. So now you notice it's empty. I could also put this in there, and now you can see it does the exact same thing. And so if I were to do this, let's go ahead and add another one in there because we will need it. And so when this finishes, this iron finishes, you'll see that we now have enriched iron. And enriched iron I can throw back in there, and it will re-infuse it. And that will make, what do you think it's going to make? Boy, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It is steel. And then I could create a mechanism one, but since I have this mechanism smelter, but there we go. And now it put into our system, we now have steel. And so that's a way of creating steel. Now it's ore dictionary to all the various steels. And if we look at, let's go over here. Oh, steel. So there's various different steels, but here's what the mechanism one would look like. If I were to do it in the mechanism smelter, it would spit these out as well. I could also put it in a compacting chest and convert it. In case you guys didn't know, there's a mod called Ore Dictionary Converter that adds a block that allows you to see all the different Ore Dictionary items and pull out the ones and convert back and forth. It's pretty neat. I often add that, so I have that convenience. But in case you don't have that, like we don't have here, you can actually just use a compacting drawer. You put the type of item, the Ore Dictionary item, in it, and then you'd place this inside of it and pull it right back out, and it would have converted back and forth. So that's kind of cool. Let's see what else we can do. Let's put some redstone in there. I think I got one in, yep. And let's put some osmium in there and see what it gives us. And we twiddle our thumbs. It's not too bad, really. I mean, we will be definitely pursuing that. So now we have these basic control circuits, and that's also very big, right? We need a lot of those as well. And if we look at most of the recipes, the enrichment chamber is one of the next things we're going to want to do. And that uses these guys here, right? These basic control circuits. We can also go for an electronic circuit, you can see, and that's more IC2 wise, but they're pretty much Ore Dictionary with these electronic circuits. So we're going to go for these since we're going to stay in the mechanism. And we need steel casing, and so we need all these different types of steel, and we'll need any type of glass. I don't think we have to use quite clear glass. Let's see here. Let's go back in and see. Yeah, it's any type of glass. And so, and a little bit of osmium. So let me get cranking on some steel. Let me make a few more of these guys and get us some of the basics, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back. And you see I have created a second enrichment chamber. And that is really just so we can have one for redstone and one for coal. Now, there's also diamond. There's also obsidian, and I think that's it. So you could in theory have 4 of these, and you know, we can alternate back and forth, and you know, put your unique one in there, and you can set up auto crafting if we want. So that's one way to do it. But first thing I want to do is speed upgrades, and you see in my inventory I've already created 8 of each, all right, for the 2 machines. And let me show you what this does. So if we were to grab redstone and we grab some coal, and then we will grab some iron. And actually, I need 1 stack for that, and I'll need half a stack for that, because remember, we have to run it through twice. So if I put this in, right, you can actually shift click that in, and so we see that's the amount, or you know, that's how fast it goes. If we go over here, we look, it's using 20 RF per tick. You can cycle through the different things here, and so there's 50 joules per tick, and there's 20 RF per tick. So it's roughly, you know, what is that, 33% the conversion ratio, or 1 point whatever that turns out to be. But ultimately, we want to look in RF per tick. So 20 RF per tick. Now let's add some of these speed upgrades. So it'll take a stack. 8 is the maximum, and you can see it starts to add those in. All right, and we go back here, and we'll notice that it slowly starts to speed up as it's being added. Right now, it's getting much faster, and we can watch the RF per tick goes way up. There's a 1100, 2000 RF per tick. Right, so it's using a lot right now. Now, not a big deal for our base, but this is crucial for early games. So if we were to add speed in there, or I'm sorry, the energy, right? It's the energy upgrades. We can see it drops way back down. And there's 600, 400. So that makes all the difference in the world. You pretty much want to do those both at the same time. And so now we're going much, much faster, and it's only using 200 RF per tick. Not too bad for that speed. I'm okay with that. So now let's take a look at doing it the other way. So if we were to add this in there and this in there, and let's go over here and add our energy upgrades first. Just trying to show you what I found is that, look, it drops down to a measly 2 RF per tick. So it really would use very little power in a beginning base if this is what you were worried about. You could have a whole rash of these guys, albeit at a slower speed, but heck, we don't want that. We want to make sure it's all the way sped up. So now we've got this converts over into steel, this converts to these enriched alloys, and we need a lot of that because, And I'll throw those back in there because we want an enrichment chamber. Because an enrichment chamber allows us, I've already made a steel casing, and remember that's just any of these steels. It's not really 9. It's that's just a bug. We've seen that with other things, and 1 piece of osmium. So I made one of those already, and we'll make an enrichment chamber, and we'll put that guy down. And let me show you what this does. And let me grab some redstone. I'll just grab, oh, I already have some of that, and let's grab some coal. And we'll grab 2 pieces just to be the same. So the enrichment chamber, it requires power. It also uses the same speed and energy. All right. And, you know, in case you're wondering, you can also export from the various sides. It's not a bad way of representing it. We've seen many different ways, but all right, so if I were to put redstone in there, what it does is it converts this 1 piece of redstone over into a compressed redstone worth 8 times as much. In the older versions, so this is what's now compressed redstone. In the older versions, it was 10-to-1 ratio. Now it's been dropped down to 8-to-1. So we've got that, and let's put that in, and we'll let that finish. Now, remember, when we added 1 piece in here, it was 10 items, right? Or 10 units. And so if we add this compressed redstone in, it adds 80 now. And all we have to do is just run it through there first, and now it's 8 times the amount. And so it's a much more efficient way of doing this. So if we grab this guy and throw it over here, you'll get to see there's 320 in there now. And so we add this in, and now there's 400. So it's a much more efficient way of using your resources. We don't have that much problem right now, but just wanted to point out that this is the smart thing to do. Make a whole bunch of these guys and use these in your enrichment chambers. All right. Also notice up in Wayla, there's a bug that all of these say this is an enrichment chamber, this is a metallurgical infuser. In fact, I just said that wrong. So this is, the Wayla tips are wrong, notably for Mekanism. We've seen it in a few other things, but just beware that these all say enrichment chambers, and they are not all enrichment chambers, only this one is. Okay, so, and then we can add that back in there, and that'll be nice and full. So we take the steel dust, we go over here, and we smelt that up, and that'll inject it back into our system. All right, so what we're working towards is the digital miner. We want this digital miner, and it looks very complex, but we've already made these guys. This was just osmium and redstone. These atomic alloys is, oh look, we know how to do this. We could just do compressed osmium. And so this is just this refined osmium, or I'm sorry, not osmium, obsidian. And the refined obsidian is, crushed from this guy. Let's see if we know how to make it. Oh, so we need an osmium compressor. So let's make an osmium compressor. Osmium, actually I think I can just click on this as the recipe. There we go. So we need a couple of buckets, and it's an advanced circuit, which is just that guy. So we can make that. Let's make a few of those, make 4. I don't remember how many it needed, but osmium compressor. No, there we go. And we have a bunch of those. We should have everything. Got to make a couple of these. Let's just make a bunch of those. And here we go. Now we have an osmium compressor. And so let's put that, actually, I kind of want to put that guy right here, and I'll show you why. So the osmium compressor, now we can put the stuff in there. It looks very similar to this. Actually, it looks very similar to this guy, right? But it uses different things. We need osmium in here, and it compresses whatever we put in here. So let's do a little bit of that. So osmium, we'll grab, let's say a stack of that, and we'll grab some obsidian. We'll grab a stack of that. And it's not quite a 1-to-1 ratio, as you'll see here. We throw that in, and it kind of fills that up here. And then we put that in, and I think we have to actually crush that. Yeah, let me crush that. Let's see if I can grab it. There we go. I think this is what we want to be doing. Yay? Nay? Let me see. Well, let's go back to digital miner. Let's see, I forgot how we're doing this here. We want that guy, and then we find obsidian. Let me just see here. Yeah, so in the, okay, so we can make the refined obsidian dust with the obsidian powder, and we need diamond now, which is okay. So let me, let's see here. This guy's full still, but I think this guy is almost empty. So let me clean this out. I'll make some more of that, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at what the enrichment chamber does. All right, be right back. All right, so if we place a diamond in here, it then creates us, it's there, it's just a visual bug. It creates these compressed diamonds. We can then throw the compressed diamonds in here, and it creates 80. And so you see I've already created 3 of these, and so let's throw 4 of those. I think we had 4 left, maybe 5. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it clean. There we go. That's done. So then we go over here. Now remember, we threw in 1 osmium, and so let's throw this guy in here. And so it they might have gotten, yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's throw another one in there. They might have synchronized that better. So it's 1 to 1. Okay, that looks much better because there's none left in there. All right, that makes it a little bit easier. Normally what I do is I just throw a stack in there, right? And then I don't care. But it would always be off by a little bit in older versions. But now it looks like it's synced to 1 to 1. So I like that much better. All right, so now we've got our refined or obsidian. So now let me see what the digital miner. Remember, I mentioned this is balanced by being fairly complex. All right, so we need compressed obsidian. All right, so we have to throw, in order to make compressed obsidian, we have to throw this refined obsidian dust, which I just went a little bit too far. That's okay. I can't get that back, but that's all right. We'll need that too. So we need the refined obsidian dust with this, and we need this. All right, let's take this guy here, and then we put that in the enrichment chamber, or in here, and then we enrich that, and that gets us our compressed obsidian. So this makes it go a lot further. Okay, so now the next step is we need that stuff with the reinforced alloy, which is the enriched alloy with our compressed diamond. Okay, so let's grab some of those alloys. And let's grab, I don't know, a few of those. I already have some here. Let's choose that. All right, so we want this in here. We've got 6, so let's throw that much in there because we're going to need quite a few of these too. It looks like I need 1 more. Okay, so now we've got those, and let's take a look at our recipe again. Digital. And then, so the metallurgical infuser, we need these reinforced alloys with this obsidian. Okay, so now it's empty. So we'll throw that in there, and we'll throw that in there. Actually, that should be enough for right now. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just leave that. Now, let's go back over here and see how far. So now we've got these guys. So now we need the logical sorter, and that should be okay to make. And we need 2 of these, and I don't believe they stack. Nope. And then we're going to need another steel casing, which I actually already have in there. I made a few of those. Now these teleportation cores aren't too bad. They need a couple of these diamond. We have all that. Let's grab these atomic alloys and refresh my memory. The reinforced with the obsidian, and we have reinforced, so let's go grab a couple more. Yeah, let's just do, I don't think I can put this in there, right? No. All right, yeah, we'll go ahead and throw that in there. And then, oh gosh, man, this is just so hard to remember. All right, these guys are the blue in there. Okay. Oh wait. I have them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So why didn't it pull from my inventory? It's supposed to have. Weird. Okay. And those do stack. All right. And then the last one is the Robot. And it needs a personal chest. We need these energy tablets, which are brand new. These don't stack, and they will start charging in my inventory. Let's go upstairs and turn off the wireless charger. The reason why is because they can cause problems with MBT when they're charged, right? They aren't the same as these. It's not a big deal. They just won't stack when they're in here if they have varying levels of energy. So back to the Robert, and we got 2 of those. Let's see what this personal chest takes. It's not too bad. It needs a bunch of steel chests. I think we have everything. We do. All right, let's try this now. And, oh, we never made the Robert. So let's do that. And personal chest. And these 2 on the sides. There we go. And it might have been that it back revved Robert. It might have back revved my version when I updated to the latest FTB pack. All right, so now we have digital miner, and we need a. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. Oh my gosh, totally blanking on the name of this guy. It's dimensional transceiver. That's what we need. You know what? I didn't think I had one. I think I used it. But we do have our energy cells. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I am so blanking on RF tools as well. Don't you hate it when they're there? All right, advanced power cells. And you see, I've made these. I don't know if I showed those on camera, but I made the advanced power cells. And let's see if we can do the recipe for it. RF tools. Let's see. And they are, come on, there we go. All right, so we've got the regular power cell, which we've seen before. And then we've got the advanced power cell, which you just surrounded by these infused diamonds. And that's just some of that. So it's pretty simple to make, and they use quite a bit more. You can also infuse them, and which I have. I've infused these 100%. And so let's take a look at what these look like. And we can see that this is 16 million RF at 30,000 RF per tick. So significantly better once infused. And so let's just set this guy down here. Well, you know what? I don't want to do it in my base. In theory, it's safe, but let's go over here. And the way this thing works is we'll do it, yeah, sure, right here. So let's put this down. Let's clear some of this stuff so you can see what's going on. All right, so we put it down, and it's big. Right, and it needs power right there, and you can also input various things. You can put input items, export items, and so on from the different sites. So we'll put this guy down right there, and it is linked, and we're going to set this to out. And so this guy should have power. It does. It also takes speed and energy upgrades, which will probably do that. I did set auto upgrade. I don't think I can reach from here right now. I did set recipes in there for speed and energy. So I can do those. You notice those other machines were fairly fast. And that's because I had already auto crafted those and it put the speed and energy upgrades in there. Okay, so this isn't too bad. It seems daunting, but it's not horrible. This is where the items that it mines will go. This is how you start it, and of course, there's nothing. It's not configured to do anything. So here's where you would reset it if you had it configured. You can auto eject things this way, right? If we have a chest stored on there, but it also has an internal buffer, so I usually don't need it. Here's where you turn on Silk Touch, and this uses significantly more power, but it's great if you want to use Silk Touch. It's built in. And then auto pull would pull things, and you can tell it to replace, instead of empty, you can replace it with a particular block, like cobblestone, let's say, or regular stone. So the way you do this is you reset it. Okay, so now we're at empty, basic. We're going to need 40 RF per tick the way it's going to run. So we go into the configuration, and so here's various steps. So I want to set the radius to as much as I can. It's only going to be 32, but let's say I set it to the radius of 80. It's going to say, nope, sorry, max 32. Minimum X, or the minimum Y value will be 0. The max, we are at 63. So you know what? That's probably pretty good, is 60, because those top few layers are only really going to be maybe copper, which we have a ton of at best, or it's going to be dirt at worst. So that's cool. So I want to create a new filter. This down here, you can inverse this if you really want to. So lots of great settings, but I want to say you can do a whole item stack, and I can drag an item stack in there, but I'm going to do OR dictionary. And so you can type in like OR osmium. And the way you determine if that's correct is you hit this, and if something shows up here. So if I just type in osmium, you'll see it didn't match anything. But I can also do things like star I'll do osmium, right? Or you could also do a portion of it and then add another star at the end. And it's because it's case sensitive. Star osmi and then star. And so that is a way, now you can see it matched, okay? So we hit save on this. This is where you would, I believe you would replace it with the block that you want to replace in there. So good. We're now configured to look for just osmium. If I hit start, it's right here. It says 2-0. That's because this is an old chunk and there's no osmium in here. If I reset that, and I can either add a new filter or I can change this and I can say, how about gold? We're running short on gold. There we go. It'll match all the different types of gold that are out there. And so we do that. We don't have any nether or nether gold, so that's why we don't see any nether type of stuff in here. Otherwise it would, and of course wouldn't be applicable in the overworld. This is not creating stuff out of thin air like our void ore miner is. It is literally mining it from the ground and removing it. So we hit that, look at that, 152, and it's fairly slow, but it's also not using much RF. And so we can go grab speed upgrades. In fact, let me do that. Let's get to a point where we can do it right there. Speed, let's craft 8 of those. And let's grab energy. Right. And let's see what speed. It's probably, hopefully I have enough. Energy. Yeah, it's probably missing something, but speed's fine for right now. We've got the power. So let's put that in there and see, we're up to 12. It's not horrible in terms of speed, but let's throw these in here and you'll see it's going to go much, much quicker, but also our power is going to go way up. And so there's 500, there's 800 RF per tick. It's not too bad. Now, if I were to turn on Silk Touch, now it goes up to 48,000 RF per tick, and this guy won't be able to keep up because it's only 30,000. So be sparingly with that Silk Touch. It's a lot different. Oh, okay, there we go. There's our, now that our speed upgrades are in there, it's 8,000 RF. So it's expensive, right? If you want a fast miner, and it's I would say for single items, this is equal to or faster than what the other builder can do, right? The RF Tools builder. So cool thing about this is we've got this in the inventory. If I break it and I take it with me and I go somewhere, and so let's go over to a chunk that's not, where are we here? We should be down here. All right, so let me go over straight east and we will go to a chunk that hasn't been rendered, and we'll be able to cherry pick that osmium. And that's what I really wanted this for. If we try new mods, I want to be able to do that. And so there we go. We'll throw that down. We'll throw this here. Come on, let me get past it. Right there. We'll go into our config, change this to star osmium, and we do that. Good. We hit save. Go back here. We start. Yep, still didn't find any in this chunk. So beware that you have to occasionally find new chunks that haven't been loaded yet, and that's the key, right? We have to make sure that the world has been generated after we've gotten the mod in there, and so this mod was just added. So let's try this area here. And let's start. There we go. Much, much better. So now I can just go out and cherry pick whatever ores I want. I love this. I absolutely love this. So really, really cool. It's just nice when you're at end game. That's what this is for. You don't need every other type of item. You just want to get those few things. So guys, I really am having fun with this Mekanism mod. We'll probably dig into this a little bit more in the next episode. But until then, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like. It really helps me out with those YouTube searches. And if you're new to the series, I would appreciate a subscribe as well. So with that said, I thank you humbly, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.